YouTube, hi. We're back. Unfortunately, after seeing how long this is, I said during the reaction to the trailer for Duskmourn that once this comes out, the actual debut video comes out, I'll do a reaction to the debut video. Right? Because I've done a reaction to the debut video for the last couple sets. And by the last couple sets, I mean probably like the last like 5 or 7 or like since Phyrexia, basically. Is what it feels like. So with that being said, hi. It's an hour long. I'm not pausing throughout the video. I'm just going to play the video, and if I want to say something or I want to talk about something, I'm just going to turn the volume down. Sound good? Good.
Original and professional salad shooter.
We've seen this. We've seen this. We don't need to see the trailer again.
Well, I don't.
And also, this is the thing I didn't realize. It's a PAX West panel. So it's not like a regular debut video that they did. Because regular debut video that they do is like all pre-recorded stuff. And it's like shown, like show this, show that. Everything is spot on. It just hits its marks and then it moves on. Right? This is PAX West. So this is literally a panel thing. So I can only imagine that it's going to be so much more than it needs to be.
From the bright and happy world that was Bloomburrow into what you just saw, Duskmourn, House of Horror. So
House of Horrors.
let's bring them on right away. Let's introduce Senior Game Designer Annie Sardellis, Senior Art Director Ovidio Cartagena, and Executive Producer Mike Turian.
All right, Mike.
Welcome, welcome.
It's only one of the 3 that I remember.
Before we introduce them, I also want to call out, you may have received some goodies when you came in, if you can't get enough of spooky houses, and if, like me, you are a fan of the Trail at House on the Hill, you've got a card in there that you can play in your next haunt, and that art may look a little familiar after this panel. So nice to have all of that under one roof. But let's meet our panelists who are going to talk all about Duskmourn today and hopefully scare the expletive out of you a little bit. We're gonna start on this side. We'll work our way down. So let's hear from Annie. What was your role on Duskmourn, and what do you do?
Hi, I led the vision design of Duskmourn, which is sort of early design before we throw it over to set design, which was led by Jules Robbins. I also led our set of 4 commander decks. Previous to this, I had just worked on Bloomburrow's 4 commander decks, so it was a pretty big shift, but still pretty fun.
Okay.
My name is Ovidio Cartagena.
Yeah.
I was a senior art director for Duskmourn House of Horror, so responsible for all the visuals.
I love that he has like a cross on. This is the set that he worked on.
Why so many moths? Why the TV static? I have answers for you.
I have answers for you. Okay, that's funny.
Hi, Mike Turian. I'm the executive producer for Magic, and I got to work on the and be the lead for Duskmourn as well. As part of that, I get to work on the collectability aspects, the product upcoming. We have some awesome new products with Duskmourn.
Interesting.
And I get to work with all of the amazing, talented team as we.
The way you worded that, I get to work
set
on the
life.
collectible
Super
aspect
excited to
of
be
it.
here.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So we are going to start things off by talking about the lore and the world building of Duskmourn, because it is an entirely new plane, inspired by horror movies, games, and other media of the 1980s, with a little bit of a twist to video.
Yeah, we put the magic lens on this, and we're talking about doing this in a mansion. This has to happen. This has to be a haunted house. Yes, house. But what's the twist? What if the house never ends? Great. What if it's a whole plane that is a haunted house? Now that's awesome. Even if you feel you're in a wheat field or you're in a forest or something, you'll see a floating door or a window, curtains, carpet, lamps, chandeliers hanging from the fog above you, letting you know. Actually, you're
I know I said I
stuck
wasn't
in the house.
I know I
You
said I
did
wasn't going
not
to go back,
escape.
but
There is no escape.
I know I said I wasn't going to go back, but I just want to see the art of this.
Door,
Flood Farm
window,
Verge, okay.
There is no escape. And what happened here is this used to be a regular plane with happiness and people in it,
happiness.
but a demon that
demon.
was locked inside a house took over it, and
Okay.
his way of taking over was
Is that Valve the Goth or
growing
whatever his name is there?
the house until
There it is.
there was nothing else
Valgavoth.
him and the house,
Terror
and you
Eater.
feel his presence everywhere. The name of this demon is Valgavoth.
Valgavoth.
Yeah, so you've all met Valgavoth if you have read the story, and if not, I highly recommend going to dailymtg.com and reading that when you get the chance. Valgavoth is truly something new for Magic, and for that we had to give a truly special card, Annie.
So here he is,
Oh, okay.
Valgavoth, Terror Eater.
Elder
This
Demon.
is
It's
our,
not
you
new.
know, big bad of the
9/9,
set.
cost
You
9,
know, the bad
flying
guys are kind of why
lifelink.
we watch horror movies or play horror games. We want to see who's
Flying lifelinks. Ward. Sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. That's gross.
big and also super hard to interact.
That's gross. If a card you don't control would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere exiled instead, during your turn, you may play cards exiled with Valgavoth. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to this mana value rather than pay its mana cost. That's kind of gross.
Video including some friendly folks. Some
Okay.
smiles you may see.
That's
here and there.
gross.
Well,
And this
Valgavoth
is gross.
Didn't only grow
Like,
the
holy
house into the rest of
damn.
the plane, he also affected
If a card you
a
don't
lot of
control would be put into an opponent's
creatures
graveyard.
and peoples
Ooh.
within the
Don't
plane
like this. Not
to
a
his
fan.
vision.
I know
So
someone,
one of the-
my buddy
one of the
Jagger,
rules for the
who
set
must be
was
loving this.
Don't have anything that looks.
And yes, this is like
streamlined by
3 days
evolution.
past when I said I was
Make
going
it
to do
feel
this. I'm
designed
tired, bro. I've been doing
to
shit.
call back
All
to,
right.
like the practical effects of the 80s. We
But
wanted
like I've been
stuff
waiting to
feel
actually ask him what he
original
thinks
and
of this
creative.
set because he's a
But what's
huge
happening
horror
inside
fan.
the house
And then I saw this
is,
card
in the
specifically, and I went,
story,
"He's going to love this."
Nashi
Oh, Nashi.
goes missing, and he sends
It's-
out. Much
homie's
like
looking
in the
for-
video we
homie's
saw
looking
earlier,
for,
He sends a garbled message to his friends
book.
to come pick him up. You know, mom, pick me up. So, no small feat in Duskmourn. I hope you've noticed the Tameo screaming at him, trying to warn him in the painting. And he calls his friends from other planes.
Yep, we'll see on the
Here we see them. It's Tyvar Kell,
Love it.
Kaito,
Love it.
Zimone, Nico, and the Wanderer.
Love it.
And we were thinking, this is
I
kind
love
of like a gang that you would
Nico,
see in a
Tyvar, I
horror
love.
movie. There's a
Kato
bunch
is one of my
people who
favorites of all
come
time.
together,
So I'm kind of
and,
excited for these three more
I
than the
hope
other
they
two.
don't split up.
Honestly.
Each of them matches a trope in horror.
All right, so why don't we'll go character by character and
They're each a
meet the
trope
gang,
in
as
horror?
it were.
Okay.
We've met this card before, but a video.
Tyvar is
the
like the
Wanderer's
big,
role.
brute.
The Wanderer,
Wanderer?
is the final girl. So
Final
she's
girl, shocking.
definitely out to kill some monsters.
3 colorless, 2
Not
white,
very
3/4
intimidated by
flash
what
with
she sees.
convoke.
Makes
That's kind of
short
that's
work
gross.
of
The flash and convoke.
And then we
Double
have,
strike. Other tapped
Kaito,
creatures you control have hexproof. Okay, I like Kaito.
who is the grizzled warrior.
The
here.
grizzled warrior.
Kaito is the one planeswalker in the set, Annie.
Ah,
so why don't you
Kato's.
introduce
I
us
mean,
to his
yeah,
card?
Kato's a planeswalker. Dope.
So when it comes to Kaito, we really
Okay,
want to make
Kaito,
sure we're expressing what it
2,
means to be like a ninja
Demir,
planeswalker, right?
ninjutsu.
So we've had a couple
During your turn, as
Kaitos
long as
before,
Kaito has one or more
but
loyalty counters
as
on him, he's a
Blake said,
3/4
just with one
ninja.
planeswalker, we had a lot more
You
bandwidth
get an emblem with
to
ninjas,
kinda
get
get a little
+1/+1.
crazy with it, and we
Surveil
haven't used
2.
ninjutsu yet on a planeswalker, so
Tap
here we
target
go,
creature.
Your first planeswalker with ninjutsu.
Put 2 stun counters
yeah,
on it.
he's all about those ninjas,
Dope.
and he will be slashing fools at your tables.
All right. I dig it.
Mike, why don't you tell us about our next character, a fan favorite?
Yeah, Tyvar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited Tyvar is back. And as a video is saying, for each one of these characters, we wanted them to fit into the horror tropes. And of course, the Jock is a classic horror.
The Jock, yeah.
Right? And so Tyvar there, you see him carrying the bat, and it's pretty awesome because not only is Tyvar a card in the set, but we actually turn the bat itself into an equipment. And I know we've also shown off like, a chainsaw, and so it's just one of the ways we really tried to bring that modern horror trope to life through those the equipment that you see when you're watching a horror movie also.
Yeah, and Mike, Tyvar discovers the power of math thanks to our next character. You can tell who's read the story.
Yeah.
Zimone.
So this is Zimone, and Zimone, of course, represents my favorite trope.
Why is she
the
biting
nerd.
her lip like that? Why
and
is she-
With Zimone, she
Why is
was
she doing that, though?
in Strixhaven, and there she represented Quandrix, and so we knew we wanted to bring her back.
Oh, it's like a
Duskmourn,
wavelength.
And,
Dope.
You know, she's representing blue and green again, and as we look at her card, you'll really see, for fans of math, the design leaned into that piece as well.
Oh god, so I'm gonna hate this
All
card.
right, and let's see Zimone's
At the beginning of your end
card.
step,
Andy,
if a
tell
land
us
enters the
about-
battlefield under your control this turn, and you
Since you're
control a
the
prime
nurturer,
number of
why you take
lands,
this
create
one? This is
Primo,
beyond me.
the Invisible, legendary zeros. Hold up.
Here's Zimone, and as you can see
Time
there,
out.
she rewards you for having
So it costs 3.
prime number of lands on any turn where a land entered the battlefield, right? And so
If you control a prime number of lands, create Primo, the invisible legendary 0/0 blue and green fractal, then put that many counters on it.
for me, before we saw the art of Terramorphic Expanse, that
Oh my god, so at the beginning of your end step, if a land enters your turn, this turn you control a prime number of lands. So at turn 3, you get one. Turn 5, you can get one. Turn 7, you can get one. But it is a legendary... Oh, no, it isn't a... legendary creature token, so you can only have one at a time. But still, like...
I think that actually was the end of the game. I think
Wow.
actually conceded right then, because enough is enough.
That's too much.
Anything
Yeah,
that
no.
can make
Math.
Enforcer
No.
quit. A video. Why don't
No.
you tell us about the return
See, this
of
is...
Nico,
I'm
who we
Silver
haven't seen
Quill.
in a
That's...
while?
I
Nico
just
coming
yell at
back
people.
here is exciting.
I
Nico,
get mad. I throw
they
insults.
are The
I kill
leader
stuff.
Of the
Like,
party, the most
I don't do
courageous
math.
Of them, the one who gives them hope. One small tidbit about this is that little shard showing some sunlight inside of it is the only sunlight in the whole set. In all the art, I wanted this
Wow.
to be the only sunlight because Nico's the one who's like, "Hey guys, let's keep going. Let's."
That's kinda cool. I like
let's keep
that.
Fighting, keeping everyone.
So this is the
inspired,
only
leading everyone on.
bright light out of the whole thing. I like that, though. That's
And
actually really kind of
The last of
cool.
our group is a new character, Winter.
Winter.
So Winter is like the goth or burnout of the group. He's
God.
also lived the longest in Duskmourn, and I think you can kind of tell.
Yeah, I
mean,
can't
I'm sorry,
tell.
Just look at him, but still.
Yeah, there's gonna be some people that'll simp over him.
Oh, yeah,
Oh
him.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 color.
So his card is pretty interesting.
Ward 2, at the
It
beginning of
speaks
your
to
up-
his
the beginning of your upkeep,
duplicitousness
each-
as a character.
Wait,
As
hold
you
a
can
sec.
see, he's going to be giving out cards.
At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws 2 cards. Delirium. As long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, each opponent's maximum hand size is equal to 7 minus the number of those card types.
So these are
Oh.
the that we follow in the story. Again, if you have not read the story,
Gross.
yet, please head to dailymtg.com. Then you will laugh at the power of math joke I just made. And after this, we do have another story going up that's kind of this guided fiction experience.
Okay, I'm going to pause it real quick because there is one thing I want to bring up. They said, like, right at the beginning of all of this, before they even started this, they're like, let's talk about the lore of Duskmourn, right? So, they want to talk about the lore, they want to talk about the story, they want to talk about the plane of Duskmourn. But then they go into just kind of like, these are the characters in Duskmourn. Which is cool, I understand that. But to say, like, hey, we're going to tell you the lore of Duskmourn, but if you want to know what's happening, though, go read the story. A little heavy-handed. I normally watch different people stream. Oh, not stream. I normally watch people on YouTube read the stories or, like, break down the stories. And it's like a 20-minute video. They read the entire story. They tell you all the things that happen. They don't leave out anything. Really good channels. I forgot what they are now, but I watch them while I'm at work most of the time. So that's what I'm probably going to have to do at some point. So I know what the heck is going on in Duskmourn, but...
So knock knock, head to this URL when you get out of here. I'll also note that
Also, I hate why. Why is the why? Why is the why? Why?
Sean McGuire is going to be here at PAX in room 214 starting at 4 o'clock today. So definitely check that out. All right. Let's move on to talking about the mechanics of the set. So Annie,
Let's
there's
talk about
kind
the
of a
lore. Here's the main
picture that
characters.
seeds
Now
through
let's talk
everything in
about the next
Duskmourn
thing.
here.
That's true. So Duskmourn is first and foremost a top-down modern horror set. But with each
Yeah.
Magic set, we always have sort of a mechanical through line that you can see from limited to constructed all over the place. So like how Strixhaven might be about instants and sorceries.
I do like how she said limited, modern, all of that. When everyone that watched this, everyone that plays Magic, and everyone that's watching me, if you are watching me, I don't know why, but I appreciate it. First off, thank you. But we all know that it's Commander. I just started playing Commander. I've always been a just make a deck and play sort of player. We all know it's Commander though, so don't like when they're saying like, "Oh, we built this set from the top down to be modern or to be this." No, you built it to be Commander. Everyone builds it to be Commander because that's where all the money's going right now is to Commander.
Set. So Annie, there's kind of a big picture that seeds through everything in Duskmourn here.
That's true. So Duskmourn is first and foremost
Sorry, just
a top-down modern horror set. But with each Magic set, we always have sort of a mechanical through line that you can see from limited to constructed all over the place. So like how Strixhaven might be about instants and sorceries, or Zendikar is about lands. Here on Duskmourn, we are all about enchantments. So as we go through these mechanics, you're going to be
Okay,
seeing
so
how
it's
they
like
all
Theros
coalesce,
and all those.
several of them use enchantments, or some of them will key off of your enchantments, like this next one.
Yeah, so the first mechanic, tell us about Eerie. Annie.
So Eerie is a rather simple one. It is reminiscent of
Whenever enchantment you control
Constellation,
enters, and whenever you
but
fully
also
unlock a
has this
room, this
added
card has an
line
effect.
at the end. So whenever you play an enchantment or unlock a room, you'll have to hold on for that one. It's coming up. But yeah, Eerie is just a little trigger that it's the glue.
Another thing this is just me. This is a me thing, and like I said, I don't want to pause it a whole lot because this is an hour long. But like, I genuinely hate this because it's like whenever an enchantment enters control, dope, cool. Whenever you fully unlock a room, well, what is that? Well, you're gonna have to wait and find out. You telling me that you couldn't have done the room and then done Eerie? Like, I understand like the room is a big thing, right? But like, you can't tell me that you couldn't have flipped those around so that when this card comes around, we already are like, oh, we understand what that means.
So that
Just
holds
little
it all
thing.
together because you're going to
Little
be seeing
things like that
enchantments
is
on all
what-
sorts of creatures and card types here. So
Yeah, all sorts of creatures like this adorable fellow.
yeah, so
When an enchantment enters,
yeah,
oh,
look
it's
at
a
this
crab.
little guy. He's very
Crab milk,
cutesy,
crab
very
milk,
demure.
crab
He
milk,
also
crab milk,
has,
crab milk,
a
crab
little eerie
milk,
ability
crab milk,
that mills
crab
you
milk,
as
crab milk,
crabs want
crab
to
milk,
do in
crab
Magic the
milk.
Gathering.
Yeah, love. This is just like a normal, uncommon, and
Crab milk.
The flavor text, everything is creepy. And here you see a little bit of the arena gameplay. You see that glitch effect on it. It's very cool in this.
That was
happens in
cool.
the
Actually,
game.
yeah, I will say that. That is
We'll
kind of
get
cool,
to
the
the
glitch
rooms.
effect over
How
there.
about right now?
Kind of hate the fact that they're showing it on Arena, though, because that means that...
All right, so
Here.
rooms were our biggest shot, our flashiest mechanic.
Okay, so this is one I'm actually going to pause for because I've seen these cards. I've seen, well, not all of them, but I've seen a couple of them now because it's Tuesday right now that I'm doing this. I'm recording this because I finally got some time so I could. I've seen the room cards, and they just confuse me. Personally, I get confused from these. So this section, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to be fully talking through just to mind rot it to myself, basically. And then also, if you guys fully understand it, or if I get something wrong with it, let me know down in the comments, right? So, rooms. You may cast either half. That door unlocks on the battlefield. As a sorcery, you may pay the mana cost of the locked door to unlock it. So, I get to cast either half of it, and then to fully unlock it, I need to pay the mana value for the other side to fully unlock it. And then I'm assuming it just stays there because it's an
Of the
enchantment,
set,
I'm
you might
assuming,
say.
I think.
And they are enchantments, and
There you go.
they ask you to unlock things. They mention doors. It'll make sense when you see the actual card.
Will it? Because I'm
in a
confused.
second
Oh,
here.
didn't...
Yeah, there we go. Let's do
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so let's say you want to play Dollmaker's Shop, Porcelain Gallery.
Okay, so there's... Okay. Dollmaker's Shop, Porcelain Gallery. Dollmaker's Shop is this side, Porcelain Gallery is this side. So you may cast either half. That door unlocks on the battlefield as a sorcery. You may pay the amount. Okay, so we play Dollmaker's Shop. Whenever one or more non-toy creatures you control attack a player, create a 1/1 white toy artifact creature token. Creepy, weird, cool. Costs one colorless, 1 white. 4 colorless, 2 white. Creatures you control have a base power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. Also gross. So what you're telling me is that if no matter what, I get either this side or I get this side, but when I unlock it, I get both sides. That's what I'm assuming, but...
When you go to cast the card, you pick which side you would like to have the effect of up
Okay.
front, and then it'll chill on the battlefield as an enchantment. And then later on, whenever you like, you can pay the mana value of the other side to enable whatever that ability is.
Okay.
So it really gives you that flexibility, that feeling of moving place to place. We really wanted to have 2 effects on a room because we want to feel like we're expressing like the real massiveness and what's behind every door of the setting. So.
And you see a little bit here about how that's going to work on Arena. You'll see that side is blacked out. It's locked. And then you can unlock it later. And there it goes.
Okay.
And then you get both sides. But I do want to pause. The art style on this video is really cool, very unique for Magic, and also just
Very
creepy
creepy.
as all get up.
Yeah, very creepy.
Tell me about this piece
Rules
here.
were my way to play around with a wide shot. Like something that's immersive. You get to see the house. When we were doing the concept art, I said
It's a cool concept of doing the 2 cards, because we've had a lot of cards in the past that have had 2, right? Where like in like Ravnica there was 2. I want to say I could be wrong with this. I think like even in Invasion block there was 2 on 1 card. I could be wrong with that, but for some reason I feel like I'm not. But in my brain, I'm seeing cards with 2, but I'm not at the same time. I don't know. I know that in Ravnica there were. So it's kind of cool that we're getting the 2-side thing again, and it's almost like it's like an enchantment, but then it has a secondary ability, and the secondary ability is like an unlocked ability, like a locked ability that you need to pay for, right? It's just a different way of showing the card, I guess, and showing the way of doing that. Because that's all I'm seeing is it's an enchantment with a secondary ability. Right. But the only difference is, though, that I can play the secondary ability first. That's the way that I feel it. Anyway, Fear of Immobility.
Fears
That's
were
wild
so
looking.
fun to work with.
That is insane
normally
looking.
Don't do concept art myself when I'm working on these sets, but I had to dive in. This came a little late. The idea came a little late in the development, and we dove
not
in
sure
to
about that
find
then.
out with Esther Wu. We wanted to see what the shape language of them could be, but it's hard because each fear is different. Like in real life, the cards, each card is different, and it appeals to something else. So we made it a little chimeric, combining different symbols within the same creature.
Makes sense, because you
But
see like the horns
with
here,
the twist
the
that
body,
you have
and then
the
like
people
all of
who
this
were
screaming out of it.
dreaming the fear. Anyone who had a nightmare regarding the fear of immobility gets trapped by this. And the faces you see are the people suffering and wailing as they dreamt this.
Yeah, and then mechanically, how did we translate that?
Right, so when you make an Enchantments Matter set, you kind of have to have a through line of when are we going to be seeing that enchantment type on our creatures.
So enchantment type creature nightmare. When Fear of Immobility enters, tap up to 1 target creature. If an opponent controls that creature, put a stun counter on it. Oh, okay. So it's just, yeah, it's...
One more fear. Just because of the art. This is one of my least or favorite arts in this set.
Oh.
I don't know, a video.
Oh,
you
no.
take this.
So that's one of the ones that I personally
Fear of
designed.
lost teeth.
We had a list of nightmares that people normally have, and
I don't like
was
that.
like, fear of lost teeth. How am I gonna do that?
I don't like
And
that.
I was like, okay, you know what? Let's do a disembodied jaw, and the teeth are falling out. You can see the nerves connecting and so on. Oriana did a great job with the art and the faces, and it coming off like the medical chair. It's pretty fun art.
No, it's not fun art.
It's pretty funny.
Fun.
It's great.
When lost tooth dies,
Well, I
it
can
deals
tell
1
from
damage
the
to any
audience-
target,
I can tell from
and
the
you
audience
gain 1
reaction
life.
that they too hate going to the dentist, right? I think that's something that's pretty universal. Yeah. And,
So-
one of the joys of working
So fears are enchantment creature nightmares, but like there's nothing here that stays between all of the fears. Like this is just when it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target and you gain 1 life. Right, but like the main catching point is that if it's a fear card, it's an enchantment creature nightmare.
It really speaks to how the set really becomes aesthetically such a tribute to horror. So, and then here with Fear of Lost Teeth, right, as Annie was talking about, we wanted to have enchantment cards that would come out and matter early on. They're a nightmare, and it does something that's great and very functional, and just it really makes the gameplay click.
Yeah. So now there is some hope on Duskmourn. It's a little. Just a little. And we see it in the form of glimmers. So, video, tell us about glimmers.
Well, glimmers are...
Look at that teddy bear.
You were talking about the wall. We had a wall of monsters filled with monster art that we made. Part of that was the glimmers, the only hopeful thing in that whole wall. We were talking early in development, there needs to be something that drives people to survive, because there's survivors within the house that were from this plane. You're looking at one of them. So glimmers are a manifestation
that's kind of wild to think about.
Hope for,
there were people in the plane, and now there's like native people.
In the previous case, it was a teddy bear.
Innocence.
In this case, it's a lamb.
That thing is adorable.
So someone had a pet lamb or something, you know. So they show up when you need it to guide you to safety, to guide you to friends. And it's
adorable.
Yeah, and mechanically, these resulted in a really cool set of cards here.
Oh, enchantment creatures. So the glimmers.
Here is 2 cards from the cycle of enduring creatures, right? And
when it dies, if it was a creature, return to the battlefield under someone's control as an enchantment.
Creature, you know, in the case of enduring innocence, a 2/1 with lifelinks, and you get some card draw. And then the first time during
this is what I was thinking. I'm going to pause real quick. This is what I was thinking when they were talking about the nightmares and the fears just barely. Is like that they were going to have a unanimous or like like across the board. They would all have like a same sort of mechanic to an extent. Glimmers all have this line here that when it dies, if it was a creature, return it and now it's just an enchantment. So it's an enchantment creature. So like Enduring Innocence will start out as a 2/1 with lifelink. Whenever one or more other creatures you control 2 power or less enter, draw a card. This trigger only activates once per turn, right? So like that right there is on this dope looking sheep. But as soon as the sheep dies though, you just bring it back to the battlefield, but it's no longer a creature, it's an enchantment. That's the same thing here. That's very interesting.
It was a creature. It comes back.
It does give you like that hope aspect of it,
again
right?
When it comes back, and so that's amazing for that. And then you continue to have an enchantment that's rewarding you. And then, of course, it's Magic. You can find all sorts of ways to refresh it. But in the practical case, it's the thing providing hope, and that hope is it returning and providing the light further.
That's enough hope.
That's enough hope.
Back to a sense of impending doom. Tell us about our next mechanic, impending, Annie.
All right, so early on design,
impending
we really wanted to make sure we had something to capture the
If you cast a spell for some pending cost, it enters with end counters on it. Isn't a creature until the last one is removed. At the beginning of your end step, remove the time counter from it.
Because in an enchantment set, you really want those enchantments on the battlefield, right? So Jules Robbins came back one day with this sort of variation on Suspend that likewise uses time counters. But when you play a card with impending, it can chill on the battlefield as an enchantment and then will later wake up as the giant spooky overlord demon. So we have 5 of these in the set, and each one of them is a little bit reminiscent of the Titan cycle, like Inferno Titans,
Overlord of
Mistmoors. So they have these really powerful impending 4. Triggers. You're going to be getting a ton of value out of these guys
or attacks
as
create
they
2.
sit on the battlefield and then wake up into giant dudes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we can even see how that looks on Arena here.
When you I want to see if you use this for its impending cost, you get the ability.
There's some cool stuff going on in this art.
There,
too.
dope. Yeah.
Yes, the Overlords were kind of interesting to design. That was a cycle where the brief to the artist was, just give me something crazy that combines our monsters with the mansion itself. So the Overlords all have architectural parts on them. And
I
we
like
see
that
nice,
with the fact of it being impending,
you get
because
to
like
catch
it's
from
like
the
you
to
can
the
play it
moment.
normally, or you
The
can put it as an
overlord of the
impending
Mist
card.
Wars has, like, a
And like I
nice
said, like the
pendant.
impending horror aspects of it.
It's
Like
a
if
whole
you play this
regular
as an
layer, so
impending
they're
card,
pretty big.
the only question I have is this though: is like if you cast this spell with this mana cost, it enters with 4 time counters on it, and it isn't a creature until the last one's moved. So it's just an enchantment. So you could technically remove it. I do believe that's what I was trying to think of.
They're pretty big within the mansion as they
Is I
walk
think you
around,
can
they
get rid of
warp
them.
all the
But like
architecture
just the
around them.
impending
So
doom of
yeah,
like
you
that
would see
card
them
being there,
coming,
like
but it would
that has
still be
4
really
turns
easy
until
to run
that
away.
thing is active. The fact of that is a really cool
Alright,
mechanic for this.
next
I really like
up,
that.
We are gonna manifest some dread.
I like
with
that.
Our next mechanic, Annie.
Okay, so
It was a great transition. Don't.
yes.
Manifest Dread. Look at the top 2 cards of the
As
library.
we
Put one of them onto the
know,
battlefield face
Old
down.
Manifest allows you to put a card onto
Turn
the
it face
battlefield
up
as
anytime.
a face down 2/2. So
Okay.
the idea with, digging around trying to find a face down mechanic is, again, it hits at that suspense. It hits at the like, oh, what was that bump in the night? Oh, maybe surprise. It wasn't just a 2/2. It was one of your giant overlords or something. So with Manifest Dread, you actually get this additional selection of your top 2 cards. You pick your favorite of the 2, you put that face down as a creature, and then the other one gets dumped into your graveyard to enable some graveyard synergies also found in the set with Delirium.
That's gonna be gross.
And hopefully you can find
actually.
that creature a bit more often, because while I really dig Manifest from Fate Reforged, we just really want to make sure you were hitting those creatures a bit more often to have that more fun moment.
Yeah,
We've got
that's
3 manifest dread
Unwanted
cards to look
remake.
At.
Destroy
Unwanted
target creature,
remake with
controller,
maybe
manifest
the best
dread.
name, and this set has a lot of good names, but
It's
unwanted
true.
remakes up there.
A
Well, yeah,
1
really with
mana
Unwanted
destroy
Remake,
target
right,
creature
it's,
is insane, by the
it
way.
really alludes
That's
to,
insane.
it's like, oh, you have your favorite movie franchise, and the second one's pretty good, and then the third one, and then it's like, oh, it's, at some point they become an unwanted
That's-
remake. And then from the Magic card perspective, it's just, this
a
is
1
some
mana
really
destroy
good,
target
cheap
creature.
white removal. One of the things that's, of course, it's always so good to be able to destroy an opponent's creature for just a mana. But here, also, one of the things that's so good you can do with it is you can kill your own creature in response often to it dying, and then make a surprise blocker, or then even, reveal it if you have a lot of mana available.
Oh, shit. Actually.
And so it's nice that it has those 2 functions of both removing your opponent's creature or making a surprise creature on your own.
Yep. You're also going to see a lot of manifest dread in limited with uncommons like Disturbing Mirth.
Disturbing Mirth.
Yes. So for Disturbing Mirth, once again, you can see how we're playing into the
I hate the card art on it.
theme,
When it
right?
enters, you may
When
sacrifice
it
another
comes to
enchantment or
play, you
creature.
can
If you do, draw 2
sacrifice
cards.
another
When you
enchantment or creature
sacrifice
and draw some cards.
Disturbing
and
Mirth,
then if you
Manifest
play
Dread 2.
Perhaps another Disturbing Mirth
Oh.
later on, and sacrifice it, you get to Manifest Dread here. So, and that's all for just 2 mana. So it really
Okay.
helps you move through.
Looks like a Rakdos
move through
character.
Your deck, get some creatures.
The
it
card
really
art does to an
a lot
extent, now
for
that I'm
black.
looking at it more.
And our final manifest dread card is a mythic green that
Ooh.
manifest dread every
3 for a 3/3.
Yeah,
Attack
this
when it
Haunt
attacks.
Trigger
Manifest
is kinda
Dread.
no joke.
Reveal
He
target
comes
face
with-
down
he's gonna be
permanent. If it's a
putting
creature
lot
card,
of
you may
2/2
turn it face
down
up.
bodies all over your battlefield.
Wow.
And his last ability allows you to play with any face down mechanic from Magic's history, basically. So maybe you're cloaking something from
I like
Murder
that.
Set or any other. I don't know. Just
I
find out what
actually
kind of
really
shenanigans
like
you
that
can pull with
card.
this guy.
Yeah, and one of the things that was so great about Manifest Dread is, when it was
What?
part of the set, it adds to that dread feeling because yes, you're putting in a 2/2, and that could be any creature. You're looking at 2 cards, so you're just more likely to find a creature. But then also on the occasion where you joyously get to put a creature face up into your graveyard, of course, amazing for graveyard and reanimation strategies, but in that moment, your opponent really feels the dread of wondering what was the other choice? What's in front of them that's now
this card?
masquerading as a 2/2?
All right, well, we talked about graveyard synergies, and we've seen
Right,
this
attacks
mechanic,
manifest
but we're bringing back Delirium, Annie.
Yeah. So
Delirium.
kind of fell into place just later
If there's
in
4 more
design, 'cause
cards,
we always
types
knew we
among
needed to
graveyard, yep.
leverage the graveyard in some way. You know, we have a spooky set. We need to use that
Spooky,
spooky
scary
zone of the game.
skeletons.
So Delirium was a very natural fit,
Yep,
considering
that
we
makes sense.
had all these enchantments running around, cards with inherently having 2 types on them. You can also manage to get lands in your graveyard using Manifest Dread, so you can dump the
Yeah, you can
land
just-
and play your creature.
Yeah, this is going to be
And
interesting
it
to
was
see how
just
this
very
set
useful.
plays out.
That's all.
Especially on
Demonic
the cards,
Council.
Demonic Council.
Search library for a
Yeah,
demon,
so
reveal it, put it in your
here
hand,
we
and shuffle. If
see-
there's 4
I
more,
think
instead
this
search
is
library for any
Marina
card.
Vandrell making a little bit of a deal
God
with you know who. Sadly, she does not have Delirium, so she must search for the demon. But if you do have Delirium, you can get any card you like. So what's going on here, Ovidio?
That's kind of a nice little tutor card
What's going on?
almost.
Some awesome art. This is Babs Webb's debut as a Magic artist. So incredible piece. Marina Vandrell is the one who brought about the doom of what is now known as Duskmourn.
Okay.
She let Valgavoth whisper in her ear that he would take care of the bullies for her. And
Of
he
course.
used her house to just expand himself all across the plane. And we see this scene where they're making the pact here. I wanted Marina to look defiant and confident as it happened.
The art on that card is sick. The
Now,
art,
as we
the art
mentioned
for this
earlier,
set
the
is
house
wild.
does have some survivors somehow.
Like I said, I'm not.
So
I
we had
don't.
to
I'm not a
represent
huge spooky
that
fan. So
mechanically, which we did with the survival mechanic. In.
survival at the beginning of your
Yeah,
second main
so,
phase.
not
If
everything
blank card is
about the
tapped, gain
monsters.
an
We do have
effect.
a couple people.
Excuse me?
We have a little mechanic here, which is kind of cute because it evokes survival in that your creature went through the attack phase, managed to end up alive at the end of the phase, and is just chilling there tapped. So it kind of means you got in a clear attack, or maybe
Survival,
it
beginning of
was
your
truck
second main
blocked or
phase. If
something
this
like
is
that,
tapped, exile
or
up to
maybe
1
you
target
crewed
card
a
from the
vehicle,
graveyard.
or
As long as
maybe
there are
the
3 more
wandering
cards
rescuer used
exiled
Convoke
with
on you.
Veteran
Whatever be the
Survivor,
case, it meant that you got
it gets
through
+2,
combat
+3, and has
unscathed.
hex
There
boost.
you are. Now you get a little bonus. And we
Okay.
brought back the survivor type to associate the mechanic to.
Yeah. So we get a powerful 1-drop here with the survival.
so you don't even
mechanic.
need to-
I also want to point out we showed the Wanderer earlier.
You don't need to have this be tapped. Like, I mean, you don't have to tap this as an attack. You could use an ability to tap this, right?
Because
it just says if it's tapped. All right, here we go. This is the big thing for everybody.
Characters.
4 pre-con decks.
Let's kick things off with Miracle Workers featuring the return
Miracle
of Aminatou.
Worker.
Yeah, and it's
Oh,
also
Aminatou.
the return of the miracle mechanic. So this Esper deck is all about jamming expensive enchantment.
I just want to see it before they go into it. At the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 2. So at the beginning of your upkeep, I get to look at the top cards of the library, put them back in any, or put them into your graveyard, and the rest on top of your library in any order. So basically, you can just kind of boom, boom. Each enchantment card in your hand has Miracle. The reason why I want to pause this is because I don't know what Miracle actually is. So, it has Miracle. Its Miracle cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 4. You may cast a card for its Miracle cost when you draw, if it's the first card you drew this turn. So if I draw an enchantment, and it's the first enchantment I drew, or if it's the first card I drew this turn, I can then play it for a reduced cost of 4. That's insane. Also, includes 10 arch enemy cards and a sample
It's
booster.
manipulating the top of your library. and
Okay,
being able
that's
to
wild.
cheat
I've
them
never
out.
seen Miracle
So
before, so
grab
that's-
your favorite enchantments from
that's new to
Duskmourn
me.
or throughout Magic's history.
Wow.
Omniscience, I don't know, whatever.
Throughout Magic's
Just,
history.
blow out your opponents with the powerful Aminatou.
All right, we also have a second version of Winter leading the Death Toll
Ooh.
deck.
Yeah, here's Winter
Cynical
again.
Opportunist.
It was really fun to get to leverage
Touch.
the characters. The
Whenever it
second
attacks,
time
mill
on the commander
3.
decks to really just drive
We
home
mill
what they're
3.
about.
At the beginning of your end step, you may
So
exile
Winter
any number of
again
cards
leverages Delirium
from your
at the front of
from
a
your
Golgari
graveyard. 4 or
deck.
more card types
So
among them.
you're going to
If
be
you do
dumping
put
a bunch of
permanent
stuff
card
in your
from among them
graveyard,
onto the battlefield with a
exiling
finality
what I like to
counter
call
on
a
it.
Delirium's worth of cards from your graveyard in order to reanimate
Okay.
something.
All right, next up, of course, we had to have a deck helmed by Valgavoth.
Yeah. So
Valgavoth.
this Valgavoth is a little different than the one you saw you before. Again,
Ward pay
he
2.
heads
Whenever an
up
opponent
a
loses
black
life
and red
for
group
the first time
slug
each
deck,
turn,
so
put a
he's gonna
1
be
counter on
dealing
it, draw a
damage
card.
to all your
Okay.
opponents all the time.
The
making them
artwork on
sacrifice
this card
stuff.
is
You're going to end
beautiful,
up the
by
enemy
the
of
way.
the table. But notably,
I
this
love this
Valgavoth
art.
is a little smaller than the other one. Do you want to speak to that?
Well, Valgavoth goes through a process of renewal all the time, of course, he's a moth. So he molts, his husks are all over the basement. And don't imagine a small basement, please, this is a pretty big guy. He gets, every time he comes back and he renews himself, he's a little different, a little more horrifying.
Okay.
So this is when he's just molted.
Yeah. And, you know, he starts as a 4/4, but by the time your turn comes back around, he'll probably be a 7/7. So he's pretty big.
In our final deck, you two can harness the power of math with
Nope. I'm good.
Zimone Mystery Unraveler.
Okay,
Whenever
so
land-
Zimone leads up
Whenever
a
land you
deck
control
themed
enters
to
manifest
jump
red, if it's
scares,
first
so
time your
that might
ability
mean
has
face
resolved,
down
otherwise you may
cards
put a
with her
turn permanent
mechanic
either on face up.
Manifest Dread returning from the
Okay.
main set. Other face down mechanics through Magic's history, as well as just the play style of
I'm good.
passing your turn while leaving a bunch of mana up, because honestly, there's nothing scarier than that, in my opinion. So here's Zimone.
And you may have noticed
I'm
at the
good.
top of those boxes, it says Arch Enemy cards
Yeah.
included. So Arch Enemy, we haven't done that in a while, Annie. What is Arch
True.
Enemy?
So
Yes.
Arch Enemy is an alternate multiplayer format of sorts, where 3 of you team up against one Arch Enemy. The Arch Enemy is teamed with an oversized deck of schemes, which are all free, powerful effects. And we kind of leaned into that 3 versus 1.
Okay, I want to ask this because I'm genuinely curious. Okay, I'm genuinely curious, and I know I'm asking this a long way into this video, right? But I'm genuinely curious. The people, if you're watching this and you've gotten to this point, please leave a comment on this because like I said, genuinely curious, genuinely want to know. Does anyone play these extra game modes that they add? Like, are these actual things that people like to play? Because I don't know. Because like I genuinely don't know. Because like if I'm playing singleton commander, I'm playing 1-on-1 commander, or I'm playing with a pod. I haven't played with a pod yet, but most of the time I'm playing a 1-on-1 commander, right? And even before that, I used to just play 1-on-1 60 cards, basically historic, limited, whatever the hell you want to call it, right? I'm not trying to play a game within a game when I'm trying to play a game. That's my thing. So, like, is this the thing people play a lot of? Or is this just the thing that they keep trying to make a thing?
Line up with the Zimone, Winter, and Aminato against the Valgavoth here on the cover. But any one of the 4 or any commander deck you want can just be the Arch Enemy when you go to play. So.
Yeah, and we've got some art, and these video are a really fantastic excuse to do some really cool art.
Oh yeah, I love
That's
playing
cool
with
looking.
a different aspect ratio. Normally,
that a hockey
as
stick?
an art director, you get to play with just 4x3. This time we got to flip it a little bit.
I think that's a
I was
hockey
thinking
stick.
about vintage book covers,
A premonition of your
vintage movie posters
demise.
when we were directing this.
It says it
This
right.
is a great
Just
piece
so you
by
guys know, it says
Jessica
it right
Fong.
there.
Of her strength of her comic book covers, I want to bring some of that dynamism into the set.
I like the card art.
Type of monster that we hadn't seen, by the way. That this is like the unwinds. It's just like a bunch of fabric. And the following one is one of my favorite arts with Valgavoth.
I am
It's a symbolic
Duskmourn.
representation of him not just taking
That's sick.
over Duskmourn, but wanting
That
to
is
take over
sick.
everything. Because of course he feeds off
Oh
fear.
my
The
god,
more
that's
fear,
the coolest
the more
freaking thing I've
power.
seen yet.
Yeah, and so we've got 2 of these schemes to show off.
Remains
So
face
here's
up
I am
until it's
Duskmourn. By the way,
abandoned.
these
At the
names
beginning
go
of your
really
step, you
hard.
may cast a spell from your hand without paying
But how
mana.
do- how
You
do
do
these
abandon
play
the
out?
scheme.
Yeah, so each of the commander decks comes with 10 schemes, and 8 of those are brand new with 2 reprints. But yeah, again, I do love that we just had more space to play with the art and such. But here is a new design. It uses the ongoing
Like I said, do people
subtype in
actually
order
do
to
this
allow you to
stuff?
kind of
'Cause,
stash
like I
this
said,
scheme for
I
later.
don't-
And whenever you want to
I don't
play an
see it,
expensive
man.
spell, you then abandon the scheme and play that spell for free.
And our second scheme to show off is My Champion Stands Supreme.
Yeah,
commander has Ward
we were
2.
kinda,
Whenever your commander
being
attacks,
able
put
to
two 1/1
pair
counters on
Arch
it.
Enemy with Commander allowed
your
us
commander
to
leaves the battlefield,
mention
abandon
your
the
commander
scheme.
for the first time. So we also get to feature Winter here, and it just
Okay.
kind of soups up your commander into a big scary guy.
And it looks to me, Mike, like we haven't done Arch Enemy in a long time, but it looks like we updated the frame.
Yeah, that's right. You know, one of the things that when we got to come back to Arch Enemy, we wanted to do is, hey, refresh the frame, just give it a
When
new,
was the last time we did Arch
amazing
Enemy?
look, really bring it into that borderless style that so many people have loved and we've been doing with cards. So this when you see the Arch Enemy cards, they're going to all be in this this new borderless frame. So it looks awesome and just makes the art look, you know, even more stunning.
Yeah, and if you've never played Arch Enemy before and you're interested in playing it, there is an article, again, on dailymtg.com by Gavin Verhey that outlines all of the rules for Arch Enemy, which have been updated a little bit for this release, so you'll definitely want to check that out. Now, we're going to get to the shiniest part of our presentation, which is all the booster fun and collectability, and I think we're going to start things off with a video.
Oh, good. Oh, these look sick. I already know what this is. I can go back to this. Yeah, these look absolutely insane. Like, did you look at that? That is insane looking. Featuring Japanese artists, inspired by traditional hobby shop styles. In traditional foil and never before seen fractal foil. Like, they just look so good. Only available in collector boosters. I really hope I get one of these. I bought one collector booster. That's it for this. I'm really hoping I get one. If I don't, I genuinely might buy another collector booster or just buy one. Because I think these look really cool and I'd love to just own one of them. Don't care which one, I would just like to own one.
All right, so
that's sick.
Definitely worth the applause. The Japan Showcase is something we've not done before, and this style is something we've not done before. Tell us what's going on here, Mike.
Yeah, so I think the video really captures it so well that, you know, we wanted to bring an amazing style from that we all, if you've played Japanese card games or been in a Japanese card shop, it's just, they do such an amazing job of pairing these amazing Japanese artists with an all-new treatment, right? We both have the traditional foil here.
I genuinely don't care which one I get.
For those in the room, I do have a fracture foil. I'll hop down afterwards, and you can come and see it for yourself in person. And so, you know, we wanted to bring that to life and bring it to Magic. The collectability aspect is so important to us, and one of the things that's amazing about
the only thing I can think about when he just said the collectability factor is so important to us is how much money can we get out of you guys by doing different things that look really cool.
The Japan Showcase is, you know, we're introducing it here in Duskmourn, and we'll be doing it ongoing in a lot of upcoming Magic
They do it in
sets.
Tarkir.
And then for these cards themselves,
they'll do it in
as noted
Tarkir.
there in the video,
I'm going to call it right now.
They're collector booster exclusive.
They look sick.
The traditional foil show up in about 9% of collector boosters, and then that fracture foil shows up in 1%.
It's a 9 and 1.
This slide also
so I'm going to
shows
get none of those.
if you open a Japanese collector booster, it'll always have a Japanese language card when you get one, right? But for the English and other collector boosters, in those you'll get an English card 2/3 of the time you get one, and then the other time we'll have 1/3 we'll have a Japanese language.
Oh,
and
that's
so
cool.
That's really, we wanted to bring that.
That's actually
just,
really cool.
Being in
I
Japan,
like that.
in a card shop and opening up this amazing treatment, this amazing feel, and I think these cards really knocked it out of the park.
I will say this: just the look of this card, like this one here, especially with it being like very dark around all the different things, it makes it very obvious, kind of like what is the wording on this. Whereas some cards in different games, they try to do this sort of thing, and it's difficult to read. This is kind of easier to read with the way they've done it. But if they do more art style like this, which I feel like they're going to, right? Because they already said they have plans to do this more. This is going to be a massive hit card. Like, this is going to be a massive hit collector sort of card. Because these just look beautiful, in my opinion.
Yeah, and before we get to the next treatment, so this next card that we're going to put up, which will be the first time we're showing it, someone in the building tried to talk me, I won't say who, tried to talk me out of putting it in this presentation. It's a little disturbing.
Oh,
but that's
good.
why it's here. So I said no, and we're putting it in. And so this is the Jolly Balloon Man. Sounds like a
Jolly
sounds
Balloon
like
Man.
a good dude.
Oh, good.
He's
The Jolly
definitely
Balloon Man.
jolly.
Look at him.
So jolly.
Yeah.
That was a great piece by the great.
The double
Campbell
exposure
White.
cards are sick looking as well.
The brief was written by Emily Ting, who was the world.
Create a
building lead on
token
the
that's a
set.
copy of another creature you
Great
control, except
ideas
it's a
all
1/1
around.
red
we
balloon.
had a lot of fun with the craziest stuff we could
Sacrifice
come up
it at
with.
the end of your next
Some was
step.
left on the cutting room floor. I am
ooh.
super glad that this made it into the card set because I love that piece.
But tell us about this treatment too. Aside from him,
The double exposure
blowing
looks-
up human heads.
So this is the double exposure treatment. You'll find this in play boosters and in collector boosters.
Okay,
in
so it's in
foil
both.
and
Dope.
And then going back to, not only do we want to do modern horror, but we wanted to tap into that vibe of the 80s, right? And here with the Jolly Balloon Man and on the legendary creatures of the set, we got to bring this high contrast, color photography looking feel, and it really also sort of highlighted the characters in a new
Oh, okay, there's the
perspective,
Moan,
right? You can
and
see
there's
here
Winter.
with Winter
Wow,
and
Winter
Simone,
looks sick.
It really also it not only captures their external
I really like
physical,
Winter's
appearance,
one.
but in with Winter there you can see the psychological horror, because that's such a huge part of the space as well. And so this treatment really
Yeah, I
captured
really
that.
like this.
And then
Now, this is the
lastly, we
digital
also did
rendering
these
foil,
in a texture
effects.
foil. Not all of them, but there are a small selection.
course, Kaito got one.
So
God
we
damn
have
it, man.
Valgavoth there, and also Kaito, another one that I
Kaito.
brought for anyone
That looks
after to
sick.
check out.
I'm upset because
And
I'm
these
trying to
are
get
a
every
collector
Kaito
booster
card.
exclusive. So,
And
it's
then
a
there's that,
treatment that we've
which is
brought
probably
into
going to
some
cost
of
me an
our
arm and a
master
leg to
sets and
own.
other sets,
And I don't have an arm. I mean,
one
I
of the
have
things is,
mine,
as
but
we
that's
do
it to
collectability,
give,
it
and I
really
just
lets us
don't want to
pair
give those
what's
to this.
amazing
So
and resonant about the set with treatments that we know.
looks
it's
cool,
like,
though.
oh,
Kaito
these
looks
are going
cool.
to come together and really do outstanding work. So I'm
I
glad
don't
we
like
brought
these
texture
as much
foil
as I
into
do
Duskmourn as
the
well.
Japan showcase, though. I will say
And we
that.
didn't want to leave instants and sorceries out, so we have, Mike, the paranormal frame cards.
Yeah, so the paranormal frame.
Oh,
So here
okay.
we see peer past the veil, and it's in a paranormal frame. And
I will say this. We're getting 3 different types of art styles. Which, when they were talking about the beginning of this and talking about the collectability of the set, this is what it is it's just giving art styles different types. Instances are this paranormal frame. Legendary creatures are the other frame. Glimmers and overlords were the other frame. Like, it seems like it's very specific and targeted what frame or what alternate art style we're getting for them, right? It really does feel very heavily pushed in this one.
frame for the different colors that has a different look
It
and
looks
feel as
cool,
well.
but like
You
like
can
I
see the
said, like
spread of the coloring here. You'll even notice a sneaky preview card there in the middle. Split up, that's one of my favorite
split up,
gags, I guess. in
destroy
this
all,
set.
destroy
Yeah,
all.
they do
Oh,
split
good.
Yeah, they do split up. It doesn't go well.
No, I mean it kind of ties into the survival
The
mechanic.
demonic council
earlier
card
about,
in this
like,
version
your
looks
tap
like
creatures and
I like the look
surviving
of this
and
one. I
then-
like the art on this one too. Like the art on this and the art on
the frame,
the
for
regular
one, you
is
have to check
beautiful.
out the flavor text on both
Unwanted
Split Up
Remake
and
is good,
Unwanted
too.
Remake, right? But
Damn.
you can find these in play and collector boosters, and so this is
Okay.
and there's a nice selection of cards.
That's
we
at
really
least the
wanted to
nice
say,
thing.
Hey, what cards will work with this treatment? Great.
That's the nice thing, at least that they're doing this, is that you can get them in play boosters as well. Like, it's not just limited to collectors. You can get them in play boosters, which is really nice to see.
Style, which we're calling the Mirror Monster cards. Here's a Razorkin Needlehead for the first time, but
Oh!
tell us what's going on
And
with
then
that
another
art
one-eyed.
style on the right there.
Well, a lot of we watched a lot of horror films, and
Razorkin
one of the things that's very
Needlehead.
common is a shot of the viewer getting attacked.
That's kind of
Normally
cool.
the eye, of course, but you see
That's
the
really
monster
cool.
in a reflection and really quick. Hopefully the camera cuts to showing you the full monster, but we were trying to mimic that here. We're trying to show
Yeah, that's
when
actually
the
really
monster
cool.
approaches and the horror that is being experienced by being attacked. by the monster. So probably how I feel when someone casts that, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and so here's Hauntwood Shrieker again.
Ooh.
And one of the fun things that when we were bringing this treatment
The
to life
Hauntwood
is
Shrieker
we
one-
really, there's a number of ways you can show that mirror aspect, right?
The Hauntwood Shrieker
in the
looks
previous card, we
cool
saw
in the Mirror Monster, but I
glasses.
just like the regular
Here,
one version.
You see the victim of the Hauntwood Shrieker, the likely victim, I suppose, and you know, holding up their blade to try to keep the monster away. But
It's
in
a
the blade
cool- it's a
itself,
cool idea.
and
I
so
really like the
one of the things I really
concept of
love
it.
about these cards is they have taken that mirror element and brought it to life in a variety of ways.
Yeah. And of course, Mike, I'll stay with you. We are continuing to do special guests, and we've got a pretty cool preview card for you here.
Yeah, so one of the amazing things we get to do
Damnation.
when we work on sets is we get to work with amazing artists.
Okay.
Videos highlighted
That's
some of them.
wild
Getting to
looking.
work with Masahiro Ito, right? Who's the artist for a very popular video game franchise. You know, and taking him and
And they're not gonna
pairing
tell
him
us
with
what it is?
Damnation, right? Because we only do 10 special guests in each set, and so
Oh,
having
I didn't know
Masahiro
that. I didn't know there was
Ito
only 10
come
for-
and,
okay.
You know, I mean, Damnation
Wow,
was
did not know that.
when it came out. It was an amazing, right? It's like, oh, it's Wrath of God, but in black, and now in Commander, of course, it's a staple with such a powerful effect.
I really like
it's,
the-
you know, one of the most
the look of
classic,
that
iconic
card. Like, the
Magic
artwork
cards
on this is
compared
really
with
good.
a video game horror artist. That's amazing. And we also saw Collected Company earlier too.
Yeah.
The art for that. So that's another special guest. So you know, some really great,
Oh, we did.
really great cards.
Yeah, and we've got, I think, the art blown up a little bit bigger here.
Oh, wow.
Such an honor to have him on Magic the Gathering, you know, Masahiro Ito.
damn.
Someone that a lot of us have grown up admiring his work, and he's influenced a lot of what we've done.
Yeah, yeah, and I believe there's an interview that we got to do
That's
with him as
cool.
well, and so that'll be shared. And as part of that, he shared the work in progress. You can see what Damnation looked like early on versus the finished piece. So
Yeah.
yeah, an honor.
Yeah, and our next
I dig
one's
it.
not. It's booster fun. It's sneaky, but it's a little bit different. It's kind of an Easter egg video. So tell us about what's going on in the Lurking Evil cards.
So, if anyone's been like me in a haunted hotel or a haunted house, you tend to
Oh, look,
see a
it's Markiplier.
shadow of the corner of your eye. We wanted to kind of replicate the effect of something suddenly
Reluctant role
showing
model.
up and scaring you.
Lurking Evil.
And so some of the cards, that's one of the ideas that Emily Tang and I discussed.
Okay, that's kind of
Before
cool.
we even had concept art for this set, we were like,
That's
what if
really
we put a
cool.
monster in some versions of the art but not in others? And just, you'll find out. You'll find out what the monster are. You have a full play set, and you're like, wait a minute, this monster wasn't here.
That's
Like, what's
actually really
happening?
cool.
So
I
it's
like
a little
that.
bit.
That's
it's
creepy
our
as
way
shit.
of haunting the set itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for those of you playing the Mark Rosewater BUUTTT game at home, here's the answer to one of your trivia questions. But Norin's here.
Yeah, apparently Norin got lost somewhere in the Dominaria temporal time crisis or something like that, and then ended up somewhere in Dominaria. But
Dude, that's
he
such
might be
a
coward,
small-
but he is wary. So I
That's
think
such a small change, though, for the Lurking Evil. Like, it's gonna be cool trying to find these on cards, but like, if you see, it's just up here. It's right there. That's it. That's the Lurking Evil. It's there. On the other one, though, it's like it's very easy to see, right? It's right there versus nothing there, right? But then, oh, went too far. But like this one, though, is like very difficult to see that. Like,
This treatment with Norin is, of course, if you see the regular version, you're going to think, oh, well, he's just scared of that inoffensive whatever it is in between
Stitch?
the door.
Yeah.
It's a gremlin. But on the
looks like
Lurking
Stitch.
Evil version, you'll see the monster at the top, and you're like, oh, yeah, I would also run away from that.
yeah, he's got good intuition.
And as Annie said, he does also have a magic card, which we will show.
human coward.
Besides
Good.
being a cool card with an interesting ability, Mike, do you want to point something out?
Like
for
yeah,
the
like look, see,
collectors
like
out
it's
there?
so small.
Yeah.
Like
So
look at
for
that.
people, so of course, a video and Emily's idea, super exciting. Love to bring this in life and play in collector boosters. 3/4 of the time you get a regular version, a quarter you get the Lurking Evil, and then for people who don't want to be scared and instead want to organize their collection, you'll notice they have different collector numbers. So you
Oh,
don't
that's
have to be
good.
looking at the art to figure out.
That's
which is
actually
which.
really cool. Good on them for doing that, giving it different numbers.
All right, our last treatment. Of course, we did this, but with any new frame, it can be a little bit tricky. But we did do borderless room cards here.
Ooh, this is gonna be dope.
Yeah, room
Oh,
cards
that's
Uh,
sick.
Mike was like, "Yeah, that is."
Yeah, I was
really
excited.
pretty.
Yeah,
Dude, that's
we
sick.
We saw this earlier. One of the things that's so amazing
This
about
is so
the
much better than the
borderless
normal
room
version.
cards is, we just. I mean,
This
it
is
really
genuinely
makes
so
up
much better
what
than the
is
normal
awesome
version.
about Duskmourn, and you're in a house of horror. Of course, we wanted to bring the treatment.
Like the normal version is creepy. Don't get me wrong, but this one, like art-wise, I just really like the art style on this more.
And I think it really, in so
Yeah,
many
that's
ways,
cool.
speaks for itself. And these, once again, play boosters and collector boosters both.
I just realized that this mentions non-toy creatures, so keep your eyes peeled for other toy creatures, I guess.
All right, now Duskmourn House of
Wait a
Horror
minute,
is
great
going to
point.
release
What?
September 27th everywhere, but
September
it was
27th.
really close to October. So we are doing something special for spooky season. You can actually see
Okay.
it here a little bit. But we have what's called a Nightmare Bundle. That is going to be coming out on October 18th. First of all, it's some of the coolest packaging we've ever done, bar none.
I'm gonna pause that. I'm gonna move me out of the way for a moment. So this is the Nightmare Bundle. So the Nightmare Bundle, we're getting the normal box. We're getting a deck box, which looks like a VHS set. That's sick. A Nightmare Booster. No clue what that's gonna be. 2 collector boosters. 6 play boosters. A glow-in-the-dark oversized spin down. That's sick. I'm gonna bring myself back now because I showed it what I need to. 3 double-sided poster inserts, which looks like Goryo's Vengeance. It has mana value there. So these are like for like actual cards. And then 20 full art manor land in traditional foil. That is awesome.
You can kind of see it here.
That's
It's
sick.
lenticular.
That's
may
going to
or may not
cost
be able to
over
see that.
$100 probably.
But then we've got the deck box in there, and there's a ton
What's
of
a
cool
Nightmare
stuff in
Booster,
here,
though? What's that?
Including a number of promo cards you can get, Mike.
Yeah, so not only do you get these, the cards themselves as posters, right? So we made, of course, horror and movie poster go together. So they're quite
That's really cool.
nice-sized posters. We also you can see there, yeah, so here are in the Nightmare
okay.
Bundle.
Oh, that's the
we
Nightmare
worked
Bundle.
with Tim
Wait.
Jacobus,
Okay,
who,
Nightmare Bundle.
is another
Exhumed,
amazing artist.
Damn,
if
and
you're
Crypt
familiar
Ghost.
with the novels
Cryptcast.
that he's illustrated, they're wonderful. And so 3 of the cards that we included as promo cards that you get 1 of 3 of each of these in the Nightmare Booster itself. So you can see Cryptgast, Exhumed, and Dam were all done by Tim Jacobus in a borderless style. And then we also have Living Death, Goro's Vengeance, and Archon of Cruelty in the movie poster style. And so for these, once again, the Nightmare Bundle, you get a pack in there, the Nightmare Booster, and you'll get 1 of the first cards and then 1 from that second set.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Here's us showing
Whoa.
off the lenticular.
Yeah.
in
How do
the
you
packaging.
rewind a magic card? Do you
That's
know?
sick.
What's that?
How do you rewind a magic card before you return it?
You put it in the VCR rewind port.
There you go.
That's sick.
So let's take a look at all the products coming out with Duskmourn. It's a fairly normal slate. We've got that Nightmare Bundle
Yep.
down there in the middle. I will point out, so in the upper right, you're going to see some
Upper
different
right.
packaging art for the
Ooh.
Japanese collector boosters.
Yep,
So
new
that's
Kato.
not something we do very often. They're still collector boosters, just like the other language collector boosters, but
It's the normal.
Kaito's pretty awesome, and so we put Kaito on the Japanese collector booster packaging. Also
Weird.
coming back
Did they put
with
Kato
Duskmourn
on it? I
House of
wonder
Horror
why.
Are welcome decks. So we've had welcome decks
Welcome
gone
decks
for a while.
back.
Yeah, absolutely. Applaud. Welcome decks have been gone for a while. They're a great way to bring new players into the game to just teach. A lot of
Interesting.
stores give these out for free just to demonstrate. So, Mike, can you talk a little bit about what's in a welcome deck?
Yeah, so in the welcome deck, you get 60 cards,
Okay, so
30
yep.
of which will be a deck that is the color that you see, right? So if you have the white package, you'll get a 30-card white deck. We've included a little bit of booster fun in there, but those
Ooh,
30
a little bit
cards
of
are
booster
always the
fun.
same in every white deck.
What do you mean?
And then you
What do you
also
mean?
get a 30-card deck that includes one of the other 4. So you'll either get the 30-card blue, black, red, or green deck. So basically, in one package, you get everything you need
Okay.
to, for you.
So
and
if you
friends
get the black
to
one, you
start
get
playing.
black, but you
And
could
afterwards,
get
of
one of
course,
the other
you can
ones.
shuffle them together, mix them, do
Okay.
what you want. But we were excited to bring these back
That's
because
interesting.
we love Magic and we want more people to love Magic.
I think
so.
I actually got my first welcome deck at PAX. You
Oh,
know?
did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
back in the day.
Nice.
Okay,
We
that's
are
kinda
going to
cool.
do a bit of a rolling rollout. That's going to be the words I use there.
A rolling rollout?
That these are not going to be available in Europe, the Middle East, or Africa with Duskmourn House of Horror, but we'll get there eventually. All right, now
Love how
let's
they just
talk
kind of
about
just go
all
right
the
over
dates to
that,
keep
right.
in mind for Duskmourn House of Horror. There's a lot coming up. Oh no, it did the thing. Okay, we're going to read through this. So, August 31st, that's today, kicks off day 1 of 13 days.
13 days of Duskmourn.
Previews.
Oh, previews. Okay, so there's been previews out, and I haven't seen any of them, to be genuinely honest. So, MTG Arena release is on the 13th. So on the 13th, I'm going to be playing that. I'm going to be getting my ass beaten that because I'm terrible at this game now. I'll do my normal Premier Draft thing, and we'll just see how bad I can do. Yeah.
You're just going to have to ignore what the lines look like. September 20th through 27th, pre-release events at your local
So
game
September 24th
store. So be
pre-release,
sure to
available everywhere
talk to
September
your local game
20th.
store, get signed up early. It's going to release everywhere on September 27th. There will be some commander parties October 4th through 10th. Again, I'll call out that Nightmare Bundle.
Yeah,
is
Nightmare Bundle's
releasing
on the 12th.
October 18th, just in time
Says
for
12th, but
Halloween
okay.
season. Then we're going to have a trick-or-treat Halloween event at your local WPN store, October 25th through the 31st, followed by an open haunted house just after that, and commander parties. I also want to call out, we're doing something special for the buy a box this time around. So you will, if you look at that card I talked about at the beginning, you will get a twitching doll buy a box promo, whether you buy, I see people shaking their heads. Nope, don't want that.
Nope.
If you buy either a play booster box or a collector booster box, and as a bonus for Duskmourn, you will also get a collector booster. So that is a collector booster on top of the buy a box for any type of Duskmourn House of Horror box you purchase. Yeah, you can applaud for that. That's great. We
so
have
awkward almost
thrown so much information at your faces today. Ton of creepy art, ton of behind the scenes information.
Okay, that's it. We don't need to stay here for the rest of that. I just want to get to right here. I wanted to keep this up on the screen because I thought this looks sick. Okay, so my thoughts at the end of this. One, if you did stay throughout the whole thing, thank you. I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out and hopefully leaving comments here for me to talk to you guys about. I love talking in the comments with you guys about this sort of stuff to see how you guys are feeling versus how I feel about this. Going into Duskmourn, I wasn't super excited about it. I'm going to tell you this right now. After I got really excited for Bloomburrow, I bought a bunch of the stuff for Bloomburrow, and then I didn't really get much of the stuff I really wanted from Bloomburrow. And Bloomburrow kind of felt like a letdown personally for me because of the stuff that I had purchased and what I got out of them. So with that, I was like, you know what? I'm done doing this. I'm going to just buy certain sets that I want here and there. Other than that, I'm just buying one collector booster, and that's it. So for Duskmourn, I'm buying one collector booster, and that is it. So I'll be opening that when I get it. which we'll see what that holds for me. But now that I've seen through this, I do like a lot of the things that I did see, though. The set seems very well thought out. It does feel like it's a lot of passion has been put into this, and a lot of love has been put into this to fully embrace the horror aspect of this set, which is really cool. Some of the mechanics at first, I was gonna be like, I don't know, this seems like a lot, and it does, but it's their new thing of what they're doing is a lot more of, let's take an old thing and just put a new twist on it. And I complained about that in Thunder Junction with mounting, right? Where instead of crewing, it's mounting. They kind of did something similar here with Manifest Dread versus Manifest, and Impending versus other things. So, they're doing stuff specifically per set, which is very cool, but at the same time, though, they say that they love people and they want to get people involved in Magic and bring more people in. Meanwhile, though, they're making mechanics that are incredibly similar, but so specific that you could have people all sitting at a table playing basically the exact same mechanic, but they're all in a sense different because they're not the same thing. You could have two people playing vehicle and mount, and then the way they're wording it, or saddle, or crewing, and using those terminologies. If it's a newer player, they're gonna get confused real quick because it's that's the same thing, right? So that's my only issue with some of these things that they're doing like that. The room, I thought was going to be a lot more confusing than it was. I think it's just the fact of it being a brand new thing, the look of the card, all of that sort of stuff. I do like it. I think it makes sense for this set. It's very intriguing because it is, like I said, it's very much like just having an enchantment with an ability on it, where you can't use the ability unless you pay for it. The only difference is that if I want to use the bottom ability instead of the main ability, I can't. So I like that. It's just giving players more flexibility in what they can do. Story-wise, we didn't really find out anything. They said they were going to tell us some lore stuff, and then they just told us about the main 5 people in the set. They didn't even show Tyvar or Nico, now that I think about it. They didn't show either one of them, card-wise. So that's kind of annoying and upsetting, because I'd love to see those cards. I'm probably going to look it up afterwards, or I'll see it at some point here on Twitter. Or X, as it's called right now. I'm going to keep calling it Twitter. Art-wise, this is easily one of the best sets. They've gone back-to-back sets with absolute bangers for the art style. Going Bloomburrow to this is such a different night and day sort of thing. But the art style, though, has just been out of the park on both of them. You can't... I genuinely find it difficult for you to complain about the art for these two sets. That's why I wanted to find this specifically for me talking about this right now, because this artwork here for Valgavoth is insane. So I really like that. The last thing I'll get at before I leave, because like I said, it's just constantly going, and it's already 10 minutes past the hour-long video I just did. We just watched together. The last thing I'll say is this: is that there's a lot of product coming out, and I do like the fact that there's a lot of stuff coming out. But the fact that there's so many different versions of all these different cards, to me, feels a little concerning. But at the same time, it's they talk about the collector aspect of it a lot more than they used to. And it's one of the things that it feels a little bit disheartening, because whenever you hear people talk about the collector aspect of things, they're normally talking about the monetary value of things. To which then makes me think is are they trying to pump out all these different versions of things so that then the retro border versus the normal border, this version's only $1, but this version's 10, right? Are they trying to make that a more common thing across the entire set, instead of it just being a really cool looking version of the card that you possibly could get, right? That's my only thing. But I want to know what you guys think, though. That's the biggest thing. Like I said, I've been running my mouth for too long, and this was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I genuinely thought it was going to be a 20 minute to 40 minute video. I saw it was an hour, and couldn't do it yesterday. I was able to find some time to do this tonight. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below, right? I'm very excited to see what you guys think. But as always, depending on where you are, more than have to even night. Stay trouble, stay safe, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye. I really want to get the one of the cards here. I'll see if I can find it real quick. One of these ones. One of these art style ones here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, though, because your boy's broke. But I would love to be able to get one of these because these are just such a cool. It's just so cool looking. So cool looking. Oh, I would love to get one of them, but like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to.